omo message omo de nam say yema yura Dr. Bawumia a second chance no mo ahoɔden pa omo de gina ho say second chance kwa no wo hwa opani president Kufo onya akwanya meyema no kompre no president Kufo arokwa de ma na akwanya ma na yede e compress no mo kra so aka say Dr. Bawumia kwa de 41.6% dada
yes
to here kakra bi na yede aka ho na the closest contender which is Agyapong kwa de 0% nti any kwa kra so mo yede e consider no and then ensem bi asebio and it may not be good for radio but I'm on your seminar no suit me the APM but I mean I don't want to repeat them because they may appear divisive M1 party near the encanko sebio say me okaniu and I'm sure say yinsi entuma go fi dey e wa bontin to mebu amejai but for instance one more history about say Dr. Bawumia 41.6% it's not accurate it's a misleading narrative you're talking about one hour 41.6%. I go here. Easy one. As you next election, you be carry free 41.6. You be carry free 41.6 there. And then this is what Harold already has 56. And the end carry free. And there is no point we should even be contesting for the less because somebody already has 56%. It's a idea as a sebi wish young for who so much more ha and our casa achero. So bu nipa pa na hu se nipa oka asemache no nipa ne ya nipa na adwemu da ho kan wo ye badwen ba asem we unka che no would bu nipa no se nipa no the person can reason out of the issues unka za azemu nje so we offer to 1% obi aka bia with 0 we asem we o make kai mu oduma o emu nyedu what I say now the most substantive issue has to do with the second chance argument no mo ye no correct Openi a friend President Kufo nya second chance eko minimpre no so openi Akufo adokra onya even the third chance and sakwa no yede o wini now you see when you are giving a historical account of events SEC or party mo you also have to situate it in a very true context. What is the true context? The true context is say in MPP we've had 4 flag bearers you need be in film en fabisu nyede enhyem to me I saw a analysis of data those were fa baby ebede ebebo no so macroeconomic figures indicators in say when the fundamentals are weak the exchange rate will expose you no but you were other micros were in the variables bi so fa kan ho a kasem no kan kan nyede enkoye basa kibia kan enkoye when the fundamentals are the exchange can be something different but this is the point in MPP say the music enya flag bearers you know party na yom opani a odi kan pa Professor Dubois 1992 so kai
yes
na edi kan to abama no no opani a otoso so president Kufo Professor Dubois de ma ne ko ba akopɛ president Kufo ye ma ne ko ni mpre no ye de eso president Kufo adokwa de ni mpre sa so asa na obɛ de obɛwi ni na nim ana Dr. Bawumia so ye de e bai na nim wo hwɛ the history of MPP a sankofo we nyina no se ebe mu akwa na ye ma unko bi is contingent on ade ba akopɛ performance ti asem ni yo se mpanifo kura aka na kanka sem se amfo na ye dey e kire ne nto aso meboa amfo na kire ne nto aso na wa mo homode e dey ne nipa timi epia na mpanifo so aka se de ofu duapa na ye dey epia no nti we dey ma me some historical account to be with relation to the figures omo ye dey omunyai openia your friend Professor Dubois one na your first time ono ekọ general election ne ko general election na ka ono ko 92 but 92 no pre 92 near military era we say 92 no and the PNDC 1 sabre na PNDC 2 na free mo ntina we transitioning from the military era into what we call the Republican and the fourth Republican here by I give you birth to the 1992 constitution we had the foreign powers another thing putting so much pressure on Mr. Rollins say onko into democratic dispensation it's okay so enter you when you as American say one more call contest no ti assembly you despite sir coming from that suppressive and hostile environment na ewo ho no still Professor Dubois or managed to secure about 1.2 million votes and represented 30.29%. Percentage no hu pa 30.29%. Na unim sabre no se eto abakra na eno no mu use opaque ballot boxes so na he say oni military leader or no na transition o man na in the offense democracy no na election na wono tumi o woni ni huhu ewo nkofo kwa dimpie metroaba na makoto aba na wanya 30.29 no President Wallace nya 58.4%. Gab no 1.1 million. How here me pa the difference no 1.1 million then. Because in the history of our fourth republic, the worst difference that we've ever had was the last 2024 election. See, this is a catch us say I'm for a better so. That was in 92. 96, Professor Dubois has acquired. Or no find the party by you. No, so 96 was have a kubu. No, or yes, walk. Yes, walk on it, President Kofokoi. Na party for there be. Despite circumstances and the war pre-military era, transition aba democracy mu to aba na transparency ni 30.9 na wo kra 30.2 na wonyae no. Kojo wo mo se there be ma na nto so. Nti wo mo call 96 January election party na ma Professor Dubois Ankobio. He lost the primaries to President Kofo. The President Kofo then won 96 primaries no the party no call na President Kofo the President Rollins here dey call the next election in 96. Na sabre na party no organize more organized kakra. President Kufuor 2.83 million votes and represent 39.67%. Nti wo hwa President Kufuor move Professor Dubois 30.29% and ko say 39.67%. But what
Mitiopa
oh baby mediasi no na President Rollins win 4 million votes around 57.37%. Gab no who hear me pa. Difference of the votes no so na 1.2 million votes. And you hear difference and that Professor Dubois Henry Rollins mu 1.1. President Kufuor the 1.2. But don't hear the nominal figures in the petrol na in terms of percentage na President Kufuor they are free 30% ekohe 39%. Me tell trajectory no matter the trend me your trend analysis say in MPP no obia about or appreciate it from the predecessor baby or day of a free. Nti wa antimi anya na the performer e when a party for be who say o modern ba day anko so nti wono nya day ento house just like Professor Dubois here no. Now Marie 96 the next time you saw the flabber call first for the first time after Kufuor free office no the year 2008. Okay.
Yeah.
The year 2008 was President Akufo-Addo. President Akufo-Addo by ono no wouldn't say one of President Akufo-Addo quite the highest office had not occupied in his history as a young man who wanted to lead the country. The highest office was a Minister of State. It was shuffle between Attorney General and the Foreign Affairs.
Yeah, Foreign Affairs.
President Akufo-Addo in 4.15 million votes. Now representing 49.13%. And you know how for President Kufuor first time or they equal 39 to 49 or the very plus 10% higher day account. And these are facts and data that I'm reading to you. And you hear President Akufo-Addo there. President Akufo-Addo there. The first time he is the only first person in the history of MPP. You had not coalition were winning on his first round.
Is it not the fact that around that time situations changing? I mean, you're looking at Ora Kufuor around that time. You had Rollins who has done the 2 terms, right? So politically, I mean, the state in itself tells you that Obiadi 8 years is enough for a certain particular party to knock off. It is Ora Kufuor to me winning appreciating for the very first time. Are you not looking at Akufo-Addo? Are you not appreciating that fact? Sadie Nintina Manabasa.
Okay, Minya. Wasama kano ayasama ayuturudu. There are factors prevalent. No ma ewohwa and unti affected some way or somehow it would have influenced the outcome of the elections then.
Yes.
But remember, just a mental picture of 2008 when President Akufo-Addo contested. In 2008. We have something that we call global economic recession. So,
yes,
global economic recession. America pan hit your mokese pa. Na America no, hit America no, all developing economies, including economies from Africa and third world countries like us. The impact was that very worse. 2008, and Bush a free officer actually Obama here a buyer. Just giving a picture. And you 2008 Kufuor cry kono. When Ghana, Kufuor describe Kufuor as the worst leader they've ever had. People describe him as even a tei. So on the obese Ghana, we are Ghana sika. I'm just giving you say we 2008 was one of the worst years. The whole world was globally challenged. be a friend the global economic recession to 2008. Into the world economy in 2008 was that very bad. But you see, then again, President Akufo-Addo's popularity then was still able to take the party to an election. Not only did we win for the first time, but he was also able to take us for the first round. He was also able to take us to the runoff. Again, I'm not even making a case about who won the general election per se, but now we are comparing the figures. What I say, and how wide the figures are. Now we are comparing, say, the trajectory, we be free him or the core him. We are not saying, say, oh, President Dr. Bawumia shouldn't lose election. Election in the history of MPP crowd will be with the exception of President Akufo-Addo losing the first round or winning the first round. Will be lose the first round.
Yes.
That is not the argument that we are making. But Olusu would say, does it give us hope? Does it inspire us?
But then again, losing with that huge numbers now is also not the fact that around that same time, the conditions around that time also did not favor that candidate in our kind of Dr. Bawumia. In favor, no.
Oh,
that around that time, the same thing. I mean, you raised.
It's a very valid question. The point I'm making is that
yes,
there are conditions precedent and conditions contingent on which the public based on it. I know there are no two ways about that.
Okay,
it affects both MPP and NDC.
Okay,
it affected Kofo, it affected Akufo-Addo, it affected Dr. Bawumia.
Sure,
and the same conditions will affect President Mahama.
Sure,
it will still affect Professor any other person, Professor Mills.
Yes.
So those conditions are constant.
Okay,
why? Because our problems as a country are the same. Economy, poor rules, health, infrastructure, education.
Yes.
These are conditions that are always there.
Good.
These are conditions that are the trouble. Every 4 years, these are conditions that are the trouble. You cannot suggest to me, say, in the case of Dr. Bawumia, his conditions were so peculiar and so unique and so different. And that's what I'm giving until I'm medical for 2008. Well, if the argument is that the economy had broken down, I am suggesting to you that in 2008, the economy was also worse. Yes, so President Akufo-Addo's popularity was able to push the party into an election. We even won for the first time. To the extent that you could lose the second round what time? Okay.
Yes.
Time with about just 40,000 votes.
Yes.
Even in the case of Akufo-Addo, the first time he won with over 100,000 votes. Professor Moss. And the call time. He said, we're now 49.13. And the Professor Mills is 47.92%. The honor will be intimate 50% mark and and a call time. The time Professor Mills Moye de Eco Daneno, Emma President Akufo-Addo de Lucy. In that case, and how do you look into President Akufo-Addo's face and tell President Akufo-Addo say, oh, first round kwa we need now even the second round kwa Lucy and you lost with just like around 23,000 votes in Tiempamo. And no son party from the cancer no. Papa ne more than boy, I'm for the challenge trust on Tianya de and Thomas. Mama San Franco Akufo-Addo the second time. I do President Akufo-Addo 3 times scoring. On the second time, or election no court Supreme Court no court no judges na court no assembly so no move 4 and then they are agreeing open in election we win ti asem you judges na Supreme Court sa brenda na omo ka Professor Tubiga JJC adinyira ho ahwani okay chachuji kata no Philip Addison mo and the medical be ko any so so be law oh
yes mekaipa
enti nipa sa na wode na kwa even court no 4 of the judges even agrees with him say no you've won the election we should go for a rerun no Sir Nipan, how do you say so? Again, he's demonstrated and proven with a remarkable track record. Say, Ampa, what the quite a bit my day. Aye, and then never a third time or day, obey. But now I'm comparing that to Professor Dubois. In the case of Professor Dubois, 30 point win or the year, 30.2. Let me confirm. I think 30.2909. Remember the difference was 1.2 million votes. At that time, the party people felt it was so wide. Now compare that to President Akufo-Addo. President Akufo-Addo, no, the first difference, and when I say 23,000 thereabouts. So how will you say now compare to year free 2008, Yama fast to 2024. In 2024, Tiasem no, your co-elections no, in 4.65 million votes, representing 41.61%. And President Mahama Sunya 6.32 million votes, representing 56.55%.
4.65 million representing what?
4.65 million representing 41.61%. 41.6.
Okay.
And that President Mahama 6.32 million votes, representing 56.55%.
Is the 4.6 million not more than the first attempt of Orakufo?
So that will be let me borrow Dr. Bawumia. So that will be a WAP logic, because you also have to look at the number of votes involved, right? The baseline. What is the baseline? If you take the percentage alone, you'll be wrong. Because if we are to go by extension of that logic, then why did you also lose with 1.7 million here? So it's not about the percentages. We are looking at a trend where you compare a predecessor to a predecessor, and that is a trend. President Kufuor from Professor Dubois from 30, President Kufuor to 39, to President Akufo-Addo to 49. Now, when you pick from 49, the trajectory is on an ascending trend. You don't then bring it from 49 to 41. What even makes it more crucial? Even President Akufo-Addo second term. If you want to compare to President Akufo-Addo second term, when you compare to Dr. Bawumia votes, about 10%.
But can you still compare the 4.65 million now with Bawumia to be more closer to Akufo-Addo's own? Akufo-Addo's first round.
Akufo-Addo's first round. Let me tell you, Akufo-Addo's first round, no. He won with 100,000 votes difference. In Dr. Bawumia's first round, he lost with 1.7 million votes difference. That's the picture. Akufo-Addo's second round, right? So what even brought him into office? The 2020 Krana, and we are very close a bit compared to Dr. Bawumia Krana. And Akufo-Addo won. The votes difference should be about. Let me get the figures right. But if you recall, the votes difference, okay, so Tiababe 2.1 million votes compared to what Dr. Bawumia recently had. So the principle that I'm laying is this: the import that I'm making is that if you look at Professor Dubois here, the first time on my 30.29 in 1992, President Kufuor the 30.29 and 39.67 in 96. It shows 9.38 percentage point increase and a home from Professor Dubois here the performance. Now Akufo-Addo ebe far call 49.13 in 2008. It also means that 9.46% point increase and what the count President Kufuor here but we heard Dr. Bawumia there now. On recorded a decline from the predecessor of 7.52%.
Okay, so let's make this analysis. All these candidates are they've never been vice to a certain government or
that even makes it more crucial. Yes,
good. So all the people were main that you produce here, the party produced to stand. I mean, a competition. This is the first time I'm sure when a running mate, a vice president, wababedi as a leader of the party, wako elections. Abba. So why would you give such a person that second chance simply because or your vice to an existing a president who within his time, a lot of issues happened. Economic issues were there. I mean, but you had issues. I mean, social issues were there, economic issues were there, and all that. I mean, facing that reality. Then out of that, a vice president comes out as a presidential candidate for the party. This is the first time ever. Maybe I stand to be corrected. With that huge, figure you mentioned, the 1.7 or so that you say that's the difference. So I want you to then give that same chance to somebody who is an offshoot of a certain government that came out. Okay, Babeli, do man that second chance you need to, prove to all of you that Obetimia I standing the test of time.
Yeah. My reduce the whole argument and conversation on second chance simply for showing up. I just only. The answer was Jima for so I really promise. After all, we second.
No, because issues are more dealing with the party for them to have this failure. Are you looking at it the candidate in itself and I say the conditions around or the circumstances around Nyamane CC and Intinema, the fall of that huge number not the candidate?
Let me be very honest here. There are a lot of factors that will influence the outcome of an election. One, even the party, the number of affected party also counts. and even the candidate also counts. I mean, you cannot dismiss say normal be a affected party now. I mean, certainly it won't affect the candidate and even the entire party.
Sure.
My member one on, for instance, economy. But at the end of the day, who are the handlers of the economy? Can you dissociate Dr. Bawumia from the handlers of the economy? Every BBR a two party in BBR, whether good or bad, everybody has to co-own it. How do you then separate the party from him when it comes to owing up responsibility and its consequential effect on going for election and its outcome? You can't do that. You can't decouple it because it's not like not attention opportunity you. It's not like say football and airborne, no attention.
Yeah.
And it be a reserve player. And a while memuna can say, when your mom boy no about troka into your share there openino ye yentimi emfa nenka ho be a coach no maybe or moye na ye. But in this case, in this particular case, say not two players who are no assistant captain. How do you then say assistant captain cannot also be responsible for BB party Nibia? So he can also purge himself.
Sure.
What I say?
Sure.
Yes.
But on your ultimate.
I mean, at the end of the day, and the
yes, on a president.
Before time, no. Akufo-Addo serve in government. Akufo-Addo mum win the first round. Sabe Akufo time, there were no issues. What are we talking about? For time na Akufo-Addo several years. You see, you made a very nice reference and a background about the fact that he was a vice president. The first time you had a vice president.
Yeah.
Does it even not? Should that even not be the main reason why his popularity was so higher? He should have even propelled us into victory.
It's also known that same time now the environment was also not good to propel him to be the avant-garde.
Okay, environment asema. Yeah. President Mahama, the time you talk about the environment. I'm telling you that the factors apart Ghana for the General Sotoaban is always the same. Why? Because our problems are always the same. Indeed, whether or not we like it, when we talk about factors affecting a party or factors affect, and it will always affect us.
Okay.
But give you about Akufo-Addo, the picture then in 2008. Yes, so his popularity also. But you see, at the end of the day, you cannot suggest to me that candidate does not count. A candidate counts. You cannot suggest to me say candidate does not matter.
No, candidates matter.
Me say be a memo bre be a na ni pe hu me track record be na ye hu me say na me tie ni we say ba men kasa mojo gidie kura nkofo kura wo mu kura no. It counts.
Yes.
It counts.
No, I agree.
Yeah, omo team people make decisions based on religion. Our based on tribal decisions. Had the how we mean on my team of VIP basis in Makumako 102 you think people are not influenced by matters of tribe, matters of religion, matters of credibility, how they see you, your outlook? Do they see you as bold? Do they see you as courageous? Do they see you say one you are standing on your own, you can make firm decisions?